Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and whoever else you are. My name is Daryl Robert Schoon, and I'm here with Reverend Betty Tatalajski from the Temple of Universality here in Tucson. And as a word of warning, I would say that perhaps you should unbuckle your seatbelts because the title of today's show is Mysticism, Magic, and Miracles. Now, to talk about mysticism, magic, and miracles is a mystical, magical, and miraculous person sitting next to me. I have been all around the world. I've been on top of the Great Wall of China when very few people had been there. I was in China when everybody still wore blue coats, blue pants, and professed allegiance to Chairman Mao. I've been at Machu Picchu, and I tell you, I've never run into a phenomena like Reverend Betty Tatalajski, and it's my great honor to introduce her today to introduce us to the magical world in which she lives in.
Yeah, mystical, magical. As the Corson Miracle says, if miracles are not happening daily in your life, it's because you're blocking them. Who knew?
Who knew? Well, I just thought they didn't exist.
Well, me too. I thought if they happened to other people.
Other people, that's right.
It's certainly not me. But anyway, it is incredible, isn't it? The reality of the world, the reality that we can live in instead of this pseudo world that we have created for ourselves.
You know, Betty, that reminds me of the first time when the Course in Miracles, I was introduced to the Course in Miracles. This had to be around 1976.
Yeah.
And I had never seen the book before, never heard about it.
Well, they were just, your friends had just printed them. Yeah.
And they came in and they said, we're going to work with a affirmation today. We know that you folks are working with affirmations. And so I sat there waiting for this affirmation. And they said, the affirmation we're going to work with is, I am entitled to miracles. And that brought me up, Betty. I had done a tremendous amount of work with affirmations.
Sure.
And they worked. I was retired at the time because one of my affirmations had been, I am retired by the time I'm 30.
And so what, you were 29 or something?
Yeah, and I was retired. I was 31.
So it worked.
Yeah, it worked. And yet when they said, the affirmation we're going to work with today is called, I am entitled to miracles, it opened up a world.
It resonated
deeply.
A different way.
Because I knew it was profoundly different than the way I had approached the world. That I am, or we are, or you are, entitled to miracles. Entitled.
The magic scepter. Everybody has a magic scepter, and it always works. So when it works so easily. If I say I'm sick, I am. If I stand up and say I'm well, I am. And we just continue to do it. Now, we think after 20, 30, 40 years of saying I'm sick, that we stand up and say I'm well, that it's going to work instantaneously. But we have created so much karma for ourselves and laid it on our bodies that, it could happen, but I don't think so.
When I used to say, I am retired, and imagine myself with all the money so I'd never have to work again, I was dirt poor when I was saying that, okay? I started out dirt poor, and I kept saying it. And it took probably 2 years, and then it happened. So with these powerful affirmations, with the power of thought, with the power that's in you.
Well, yes, but it's the spirit world that's making it happen.
Sure.
That's what people don't understand.
It isn't us, or it isn't just us.
No, but Jesus said it so clearly. We quote him all the time because his pithy little remarks are law.
Yeah.
And he says, as a man thinks it is.
Yep.
So we have created the poverty, we've created the sickness, we've done all of this, and now we stand up and say, I'm perfect and well, and And it should happen in one time, right?
Well, we'd like it to.
But we've been doing it
After all,
for years.
we've changed our mind.
Yeah, we've also changed the molecular structure of our bodies
Yeah.
because all it remembers is I'm sick,
Sick,
you know.
that's right.
Sick and poor.
That's right.
Well, anyway, it's wonderful here, and it is interesting that both of us come into the miraculous life through A Course in Miracles. We really recommend it. Now, for myself, I recommend that you get it, absorb it, and leave other folks alone, because
You mean you're not supposed to tell them to do it, make sure that they don't judge?
Yes, because the only people that I have met who didn't really get A Course in Miracles is because they were in discussion groups, and they discussed it until there was no energy,
no love, no
purpose left in it, no energy left in it. It was just blank words. So anyway, in this phenomenal world of miracles, we're going to show you some of these, what you might consider miraculous manifestations. I can tell you, friends, each time I have received one, it's like magic to me. And I truly value, there's not one that I really value more than another. And some of them look quite cheap, you know. They have been, some of these, we're going to do apports today. Now, we have shown you pictures, you know, we've shown you a lot of pictures that were created in a basket, and we'll show you that a little later. And you've seen those. You've seen the cards. This one is enlarged over there, and we're going to show it. They're just 3x5 cards from the drugstore in a package.
Plain. When they come, nothing's on them. Blank
Package.
cards.
And show the basket over here. Now, this is a perfect basket. It's called a snake basket, and that means that there's no light in it, okay, that reflects in there. So these cards are thrown in here. Oh, okay, you have yours set up because it is a basket. It is a working basket.
These are blank cards.
It is a working basket.
Yes.
And pens.
And pens.
And crayons.
And crayons. Now, Betty, what year was the first year you
79.
79. All right.
1979. My 33rd year.
Oh, really?
Yeah, 33 is an incredible
That was the year I lost all my money.
Oh.
When I was 33.
And you were doing A Course in Miracles too.
That's right.
Well, it's been
A year of big change.
It is so magical. It's really, we don't want it to be mystical. We want everybody to know, and we want everybody to do it because everybody is created in the image of God. There's not one that is better than, you know, than another. So, because that spark of divinity is equal, created by an equal opportunity creator. So what one, as Jesus said, what I can do, all people can do.
Whether you're an atheist, Muslim, devout, fallen by the wayside, a Sunday Christian.
That's right.
It doesn't matter. The power is in there.
You are created in the image of God.
Yes, and that power was given to us at the moment we were created.
That's right.
Now, what I can only say is Reverend Betty Tatalajski was extraordinarily lucky.
Yes.
You were.
Yes,
To
I
have
was.
walked through that door in 1979.
Into a spiritualist church.
Into a spiritualist church, and it was one step after another, and it led her to this world of phenomena, what the spiritualists call phenomena. Now, very few people are aware of this. All right.
No.
I mean, I think the most common phenomena that people are aware of the spiritual are spirit readings, are mediums.
Mediums.
Yes,
and a lot of people don't even believe. Well,
Yeah.
there are a lot of them that you wouldn't want to believe.
That's true.
You know, a lot of people take a weekend class, hey, I'm a medium, you know. Or I saw a show on television where there were like 10 so-called mediums there, and it was interesting. There was not one there that was really a medium.
Could do it, yeah. No,
they made up stuff, but,
yeah,
but
yeah, and see, and this is the amazing thing about it is that I remember what Reverend David Miller said about it. He said he went to one and he had gotten a reading from this person before and he knew it was right on. He went there later. He knew he made it up. The guy was tired. He was reaching for it.
Right.
So the world of phenomena is just, it's like anything else. It's there, and the ones who are really steeped in it, who have that ability, are rare.
And
they are rare.
They would not know how to misrepresent because of their. Listen, friends, our commitment is, and our goal is the ascension. We would not sell what we do to cheapen
the process.
Because we are invested. People talk about me, they say, you do a lot. I said, honey, I do everything for myself.
Because it's paid off.
If I can help you, if I can do this, God bless you.
Yeah.
But I'm doing it for
yourself.
Me.
When Betty,
I hate to tell you, that's the truth.
Oh, but that's why it's wonderful. When Betty walked into the spiritualist church here in Tucson, it wasn't, and that's what I want to say about your path, Betty. It's been blessed.
I was blinder than a bat when I
But before you went in.
I went in there.
But you were in a way led. She goes into a church, a very small church, not very many people, but the minister of that church, Dr. Robert Ireland, was probably one of the finest spiritual mediums in the country.
A phenomena medium.
In Tucson.
He did what you would call metaphysical magic. It wasn't magic. Everything is according to law, but it sure looked like magic to me.
You, absolutely. He could sit there. His brother was famous. His brother was Richard Ireland. It was in Phoenix, and he used to go around to the Playboy
world.
clubs.
He played the
and do these shows, blindfolded, read people
in a tuxedo.
Just really do it. Well, in Tucson, there was this little church. Betty walks in there and she gets her socks blown off.
Absolutely.
Literally.
Well, I was in PR, so I thought I was there to write about. There's a little group in Tucson. I don't know what planet they're from, but you know what? I'm going to expose them.
That's right.
Yeah, because that's all. That's the only frame of reference I
had.
That they were the only people in the world that could do that.
Yes, and so she goes into this little church expecting to, of course, encounter a bunch of crazy people making up stuff that they believe in. And what happened is that she was stunned by what she discovered. Dr. Ireland would go into, once a week, he would go into a trance, boom, deep trance. He was a medium.
Leave his body.
Dr. Carlos Blair, his spirit guide, would come in and give lectures for around 20 minutes. People would ask questions and it would be over every week. Now, I have heard lectures of those. They have 25 years of these lectures. I've heard you on those tapes asking him a question.
Absolutely. That's how I learned.
Okay.
Because I wouldn't miss.
Asking him a question. Now.
Because I was learning metaphysical law.
Yes.
If you can do that, can I do that?
Yes. And this is where Betty was in 1979. Now, what happened is one of those evenings, Dr. Blair told Betty, he said, Betty, take your class to Camp Chesterfield. Now,
where Robert used to work.
Where Dr. Ireland used to be. And it was a spiritualist community in Indiana. And this is kind of phenomena that we showed you with the pictures, with this, with apports, with the trumpet we'll talk about later, with the card readings, where voices come in, voices. Conversations.
Somebody wrote a Conversations with God, okay? As if God is an anthropomorphic being, which he ain't. So I don't give a lot of credence to that book, but it's a sweet book, okay? And it made some people a lot of money. But the conversation with God is meditation.
In the silence.
But
the voice does come, Betty.
But it ain't from God.
Well,
it's not from an anthropomorphic being.
But it is from the deeper levels.
Well, from the levels of consciousness that we call universal master teachers, they tell us where we sit, we know nothing.
Well, compared to them, we don't.
You know what I mean? Yeah, but they say where we stand,
we know
we know nothing.
Yes, for they are. And we're like little kids in the kindergarten.
And we think if we get a shiver up our spine,
This is
oh my
enlightenment.
God, I'm going to ascend.
It is. Well, because the metaphor, Betty, is like we're in kindergarten, and these high school graduates have come to talk to us one
That's
day,
right.
and we're these little kids.
We're awed.
Oh, we're awed. I mean, we can't even imagine being that big.
No.
Okay, we can't imagine being that self-assured. You know?
Oh no, it's magic.
It's magic, and they come and they tell us how it is for them. Well, this is what happened when you went to Camp Chesterfield. Dr. Blair told her to go.
Odd.
So Betty took her Course in Miracles class that she had here in Tucson, and they went to this place for the first time.
Yes.
And what happened, Betty?
Well, do you want me to talk about the commission that they told me that I was going to be ordained in 10 years?
Yes. No, okay. Folks,
That one loves like
this
that.
was the biggie. Here Betty is. She grew up in Kentucky, all right?
Southern
Small town.
Baptist.
Southern Baptist. I mean, I was going to say by the book, but there's no other way to describe it.
No,
Right?
no.
I mean,
Pentecostal, evangelical,
Southern Baptist.
Southern Baptist.
Okay? She
Love it. They're wonderful, wonderful people.
Yeah. So,
And what didn't fit me.
no. And it happened is she enlists in the Marines.
I don't know how that happened either, folks, but I was there.
She ends up in the Marines, marries a Marine from Philadelphia who's Catholic. All right? Betty decides, just like you were going to disprove the spiritualists, she decides she's going to disprove the Catholics. All right?
Yes.
She's by the book.
Yes.
So she starts investigating Catholicism. She loves it.
2 priests came to the door and knocked on the door, and I thought, this is my chance. So I went to a 2-week.
Yeah.
They did a revival, which Catholics
Don't
not
do.
do.
No.
But in Jacksonville, North Carolina, the Father O'Brien, head of theology at Notre Dame, for 25 years, I found out later, went there and taught Catholicism. And so...
This
you
is
know,
where now, Betty?
in Jacksonville, outside Camp Lejeune.
Oh, outside the Marine base.
It's Onslow County, and there was not one cradle Catholic in Onslow County, but there were 32,000 Marines over here, most of whom were from New York, Philly.
Oh,
most of
they
them
were a long
Catholic.
way from home in more ways than one.
Most of them were Catholic.
All
and
right.
so I went to, to disprove,
That's right.
da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
But like a fly on fly paper, I got stuck, It was, and it's been heaven.
Yes.
It's been heaven.
So, you know what it is? You would consider yourself a fortunate fly
Absolutely.
because you landed on, I would say you could describe it as magical fly paper.
Yes, I did.
All
and
right.
I love Catholicism.
Yes. So the first fly paper you landed on was Catholicism. All right.
Loved it.
You loved it. All right. And I could see that compared to a Southern Baptist strict upbringing where you're told if you went to the movies you're going to go to.
They didn't tell me that in the Catholic Church.
No,
the
yeah.
only thing about the Catholic Church is I still have bruises on my knees.
Oh, you're from that.
From
Getting on. Yeah.
And Dr. Thorndyke, my spirit heart doctor, said, from when I was saying mea culpa,
Yeah.
I'm not worthy to come under your
Yes,
roof, to
yes.
God. He said that was not good for my
That
heart.
was not good for your
He said
heart.
a lot of people have heart problems
For
because of that.
Yep, I can see it.
Yeah.
So you do your Catholicism thing, fall in love with it, opens up a brand new world,
it.
but it wasn't over. There was another sheet of fly paper waiting for you here in Tucson.
Well, see, since I wasn't a cradle Catholic, I didn't have the close connection with the saints. And so I really didn't.
Or the connection with the nuns who turned you away from the church.
No, I didn't. But then when I became a spiritualist, then the saints were talking to me.
You're right.
You're
right.
That's what's lovely.
Yeah.
All the beautiful saints, Elizabeth, Anne, all of these want to talk to you.
Yes.
And that's why Jesus says, "Shut up and listen."
You know, Betty, when I rolled into spiritualism through you, pushed or whatever, I started looking at this because I experienced the phenomena. This is something that you don't read a book and go, oh, I think this is true. This is so far beyond your belief that you will not believe it's true until you experience it. But once you experience it, you know it's true. That's when you start looking at it. And that's when I started looking at spiritual entities. And the closest way I could relate to it, Betty, was this is the way the Catholics looked at things.
That, yes.
I was raised an American Baptist. All right. So I came up in a Protestant type of thing. And the Catholics, I knew who they were. They were like Mormons or they're like Jews. They were somebody else. They had another way of looking at it.
We didn't really know who they were because that was called segregation in Kentucky.
In Kentucky.
You know, you didn't associate with Catholics.
Yeah. But I knew the Catholics had saints. I knew they prayed to saints. And I felt a little weird about that, you know. But when I got into spiritualism and found out about masters, found about teachers, found about guides.
And how close it is to Catholicism, actually.
You're right. It's the closest. It's the closest model that I could relate to.
Yeah, because the Blessed Mother is always in the church,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
in the temple.
So you go to this Camp Chesterfield. Now, here's Betty. And I want to set the scene for this, all right? That she's not a reverend. This is Betty Tatalajski, who just the year before had walked into a spiritualist church in Tucson to basically write an article about these odd people who do odd things and believe that they're true. She walks in, gets spun around 360 degrees and more. And then is told by Dr. Carlos Blair through Dr. Ireland, who's in a trance, to take her group back to Camp Chesterfield in Indiana.
They had things to tell me.
They had things to tell you. Now, what did they tell you when you were back there, and what was your reaction to their words?
The first thing they said to me through the trumpet like this.
Okay, this is the trumpet. All right, now.
And Spirit is talking through it.
Yes.
And right in front of me.
Like this.
Like this.
Yes. It levitates.
All of these people,
through mediums. The mediums who have enough power are able to levitate these.
They're talking to me. And they said, "Now you're going to be ordained, and you're going to be ordained." Well, that about gave me a heart attack because here I am thinking, "My God, you know, I'm not going da 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 da," and now they tell. I'm thinking we're in a dark room. Okay, they think I'm somebody else.
They must have gone to the wrong person.
That was your
thought.
That was how it worked for me.
The trumpet came.
All right.
It's talking to these guys these people never
right.
are, and they're telling you you're going to be ordained, and your reaction is they think I'm someone else.
They think
someone else was supposed to be sitting in this chair.
Absolutely, that's how I left it. So anyway, I left, and I thought, well, that was interesting, but I'm sorry. I wonder who was supposed to be sitting in there.
Or these spirits aren't so right as they think they are.
No. So I just thought I was in the wrong room. You know? So then the next day I also had another trumpet session.
reading. Okay.
So all these teachers came in and they said, "Betty, no, that message is for you. But don't worry about it because you won't be ordained for 10 years. And then you're going to," and I thought,
oh, yeah.
Because I've been thinking, what religion would I possibly, and they said, "Don't worry about the religion, you're going to create a new one."
So the first day, Betty, they tell you you're going to be ordained, and you go, they got the wrong person. You go back the second day, they specifically tell you, no, we don't have the wrong person, it's you. But don't worry about the religion. We know you're concerned about that because you're going to start a new one.
Yeah, a new one. Now, I had thought that the last thing in the world that we needed was another preacher,
religion.
Another preacher, and then to another religion. But don't worry about it. It's called Universalism. And so you're going to learn this through study and teaching. And I thought, oh, goody, I'm going to an ashram.
Oh, that's right.
I'm going to go to an ashram, just sit and om and
In.
meditate. And they said, and you will learn, we want you to study all religions, all philosophies, all cultures, and you will do it through teaching that and travel.
Now, Betty, that was 1979. This is 2012. How many countries have you visited?
Well,
since then?
Probably about 140.
And you were ordained as a minister?
Exactly, December 12th, 1989, exactly.
10 years after they told you.
To the day.
And quote, the Temple of Universality is a temple that's based on universalism.
Universalism, all religions, all people.
Folks.
A new world consciousness.
11 o'clock every Sunday at the corner of Prince and Country Club, Reverend Betty Tatalajski, the Temple of Universality. You just heard how it all began. And It's come further, and it's come closer.
Thank you, Daryl. And thank you, friends. We just love visiting with you. Come meet us.
Isn't that wonderful?